Yeah, Vice Principals is great.
It's going back.
Yes,
September, right?
I've been waiting.
Yeah, sometime in September.
Season 2, man. The way that they ended that, holy shit!
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Yeah.
See, because I know him from like Justified and
Yeah.
The Shield and everything when he was on that, and he was great. And I'm really glad he's like getting the movie work. But like on Vice Principals, like it's great how good he is at comedy.
Yeah.
Just being a smartass or whatever. Like his sarcasm is like bar none. I love it.
And like
so
his whole wardrobe and his look and like the frosted hair.
Yeah.
When they pull up to that house and he's like, oh, what kind of piece of shit does this guy live in? He's like, this is my house, motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's a mid-century sea ranch. It's great, dude. That guy's awesome. Do you guys want to do some Swan facts for this?
Yeah, do some Swan facts.
All right. So his primary influences on the film, which I really liked, and I think that these shined through, were The Thing, which is a John Carpenter flick.
He actually used a couple pieces of music.
Oh, really?
From a Thing, because Ennio Morricone did the score for The Thing.
Okay.
And I think I don't want to ruin some Swan facts.
No, go
but
ahead.
I think that the Morricone score, I think they were under like a time constraint, so there were still a couple pieces that were unfinished, and I think that's why Tarantino pulled from his score for The Thing and used a couple of those pieces.
Oh,
Nice.
interesting. And then his second influence was something that I'd already brought up. It was Reservoir Dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Mexican Bob was also a character in True Grit, the 1969 version, which is John Wayne, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll still read this, even though you had said it. Morricone had been quoted that he would never work with Quentin again after how his music was inserted in Django, but later changed his mind and decided to score Hateful Eight after all.
I'm glad that he did, and the score is great.
Yes, it's awesome. You said that that's one of the few vinyl soundtracks that you own from Tarantino, right?
Yeah, I only have, as of right now, I only have Jackie Brown and the Hateful Eight. But the Hateful Eight was the first one I was able to get.
With the alternate artwork, right?
Yeah.
I think.
On vinyl.
Yeah. The film's 70mm roadshow version is spooled on 20 reels and weighs in an altogether at a whopping 250 pounds.
Damn.
Like you said before, Greg Nicotero did the gore for this film and several of his other films, apparently. The movie itself was shot on, I think it's 65mm film?
Yes.
Similar to Reservoir, all of the main events take place in the same area, which is Minnie's haberdashery, in this case. And that's all I have for Hateful Eight.
Going back to the 70mm, because I only ever saw the Roadshow edition, and I ran the Roadshow edition for weeks.
Yeah, I remember because I went to visit you.
Okay. Yeah, you came down and visited me.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you like exactly where the break for the intermission happens, and I'll never forget it. And every time even if I do see the movie just like uncut, every time I watch the movie, I'll know exactly. Oh, that's where the intermission break is. When you watch it, it didn't have the intermission, right? The intermission is right after Samuel L. Jackson kills Bruce Dern.
And Mexican Bob closes his piano case.
Yeah, he closes
Like he plays that little bit and then closes it, and it's like intermission.
It says intermission. It's like right there, and I'll never forget it. For whatever reason, like I know exactly where it happens. And speaking of the intermission, one of the things I don't care for in the movie is the narration when it comes back from the intermission.
That's Tarantino.
Yeah, because he says, it's been about 15 minutes, and with the Roadshow edition, obviously you'd sat through about a 15-minute intermission. but I don't know how that works in the context of like just seeing it straight through unbroken.
Yeah.
But I don't care for the narration because I don't really think like it adds anything. I mean, we just saw
needed?
what happened. Yeah, it wasn't needed.
It's almost like it was just his like opportunity to narrate.
Okay.
I don't know.
Just be a part of it more.
It's funny, yeah, because it's clearly his voice,
Yeah.
and his kind of like the way he delivers things, and it is funny in that sense. But like you were saying, I don't feel that it was necessary as far as the story goes, because we had just watched everything play out, and it's basically a rehashing of everything that we've already seen. So it's kind of like in the way that Suicide Squad was like, oh, this is this character, blah 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 blah, and this is what they've done or whatever.
Yeah.
It's kind of overkill.
Yeah.
And I get that.
I mean, it doesn't really add anything. It doesn't. I mean, you can know what's going on in the film without it.
Yeah.
But that intermission break, like after the intermission break, is like when things get like super crazy in the movie. Is everything is kind of building up the tension and building up the characters before that. But that second half of the movie, like, it just gets, like, off the rails crazy, and there's, it's super violent.
The more of the payoff.
Yeah.
Anything you guys want to say?
You didn't address the script leak. I thought that you would have.
Oh, I can do that now. I know a little bit about it. So, Tarantino had... for this script as well, I guess like a version of it. I don't know which draft it was in particular, but it was released on the internet, and he got super pissed about it and was like, you know what, I'm not going to do the film at all. So Hateful Eight almost didn't come to be. And he stuck with that for a while, and then he had a change of heart, and I don't know if he went in and kind of changed things around so that the script was irrelevant that was online. But he decided to do it anyway.
My understanding was it was a first draft
Okay.
of the script, and he was very unhappy. He said, "Yeah, I didn't want to do it." By the way, Hateful Eight, it was originally going to be a Django Unchained sequel.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and I think Django was intended to be the Samuel L. Jackson character, or what became the Samuel L. Jackson character. I don't know how late into the writing process that got ditched, but
I know. Real quick, not to cut you off. Because Eli Roth and Quentin have a long-standing friendship, Eli had wrote, what's it called? The Man with the Iron Fist. And so Django was supposed to make an appearance in that, and they were going to tie those stories together as well, but that was also ditched. Which was probably good for Tarantino because that movie was kind of bad. And in my because I was really excited for it. I thought it would have been good because it was RZA's debut as a director, and I was like, I'll give it a shot.
it's got a pretty solid soundtrack.
Yes, I will agree with that. But as far as the movie, maybe it's because he was trying to be over exaggerated the way that like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is, but I felt like the execution of it wasn't really there for me. I don't know. Did you ever watch that?
Man with the Iron Fist?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I know the soundtrack because I think I got the soundtrack from you.
Yes. I bought the soundtrack. I knew that was going to be solid, of course, but I also bought... I didn't get to go see it in the theaters, but I bought the Blu-ray thinking that it was going to be worth it. And I watched it a bunch of times, giving it a chance, like to be like, oh, this will grow on me, will grow on me, but it never did. The opening is great because they have a Wu-Tang Clan. I forget. I think it's like, I forget what track it is, but it's a classic Wu-Tang track, and that's a really fun opening. But from there, it kind of falls apart, and I feel like it's trying too hard. That's just my opinion, but. And they made a part 2, and that was direct to video. So I mean, that kind of gives you a little insight on how well it was. It did.
Going back to the script leak, he didn't want to do it, but they had a live reading of the script. Well, I think that first draft what had leaked, they did a live reading of it, and pretty much. The majority of the cast that read the live reading ends up playing those parts in the film. The major one that wasn't was the Daisy role.
Oh.
Jennifer Jason Leigh wasn't at the live reading. But after the live reading, he decided that he wanted to go back and do it, and I think the majority of the film is intact. I think it's just really the ending that is different, because I don't think it was supposed to end the way that the film does.
I really I kind of like that these two unlikely people kind of make an alliance.
Yes. Yeah. Especially how they meet up. We were talking about the Stagecoach, like how they meet up in the beginning and they hate each other, and they obviously fought on different sides of the Civil War. Mm-hmm. But yeah, in the end, they form an alliance.
Yeah, I really like that because I think even though Daisy was a woman, she was still a shit human being.
Yeah.
And deserved what she got.
I think that was part of the controversy with the movie.
That people accused Tarantino of being a chauvinist because of the excessive abuse of her character. But it's like you have to think about she was like this outlaw, a bandit, you know what I mean? And in that sense, she was being treated like
an outlaw.
Or it didn't matter that she was a female because of the horrendous things that she had done in her past, and people were overlooking that. And I think that actress, I forget her name,
Jennifer Jason Leigh,
had came out and said that Tarantino, treated her with the most respect, and that he clearly loves women and whatever, and that she didn't agree with the things that people were saying. And that's coming from, an insider from the set or whatever, But like we've said time and time again, Tarantino is no stranger to controversy, and people are going to say what they're going to say.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she's obviously a female character, but if that character was male,
people wouldn't.
Would it have been a big
fine.
controversy? Because they still would have been the same shitty human being and outlaw. And
no, I think that it's a big. It has to do with the way Kurt Russell was with her, where he was just like,
throwing
"Shut
elbows.
up, shut up," or whatever. Yeah, it's very visceral in a few parts. But like I said, she kind of shows you her true colors later on, and you're like, oh, now I get it. You know what I mean? She was just a bad person. So in that sense, I don't agree. And once again, like he said in that first interview, this is fictional. You know what I mean? These are stories and they're from somebody's imagination.
Yeah.
And although they're set in a period that existed, these stories don't necessarily
not true.
Yeah, run with what actually happened, or they're not necessarily completely grounded.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. With that being said, do you want to go into his newest stuff?
I got one last thing to say about it.
Oh, go ahead, man.
One last thing.
Yeah.
In regards to the music, I mean, the Morricone score is awesome. He usually ends on a great song, and for whatever reason, the Roy Orbison tune at the end of this one probably is my favorite. Like, of all the music that ends his films, there's something about that song at the end of the film, especially after everyone is dead or
dying,
implied that Mannix and Major Warren will die eventually. that Roy Orbison tune is great. That's a great song to end the film on.
Yeah.
And I might love that more than any of the other songs that close out his films.
Oh, one thing, I wasn't expecting Channing Tatum in the movie.
Oh, yes.
He was kind of I saw it in the credits when it's rolling.
Like an Easter egg.
And then he's only in it for like 10 minutes.
But
he pops up, and I was like, oh, okay, he's gonna add some type of dimension, to the movie.
To his credit, he's not bad whatsoever. I think he's good.
And that whole part where he's like, oh, hey, ugly, or to his sister, and then he's like, how you doing? She's like, oh, I'm fine. And then boom, spoilers, sorry. When he gets shot in the back of the head and he just dies, like, he just sticks his head out and he's like, hey, and then boom, and then he's dead. And I was like, holy shit, that was crazy. I wasn't expecting that at all.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny because you see him in the beginning.